morning, Suburban listeners and readers and viewers, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Pages. Great pleasure this morning to have not just some of our best public people that we have in town, but great friends of mine. Former Premier Jean Charest, the best prime minister we've ever had. I don't have to be objective here. He knows I don't have to be. This has been a year of disappointments with COVID, but among the disappointments have been Premier Charest not running for the Conservative leadership, which I fully understand, and Tarah Schwartz, as good as they get in media and communication, leaving CTV did not make me happy, but we struggle through. We're going to be discussing what Jean Charest is doing now, which is very important, and what Tarah Schwartz is doing. And we're recording this, and it'll be on tomorrow, but today is October the 2nd. Of course, everybody's heard the news about President Trump and his wife getting COVID. Now, whatever anybody may think of the methods used to combat this, this is a scourge that's got to be dealt with and eradicated. And that's part of what we're talking about. Jean Charest has taken on a role as co-chair of the Dream Big campaign of the MUHC, the Montreal University Hospital Foundation. It's the thing for the whole hospital. Tarah Schwartz is Director of Communications and Media for the foundation. And the chair of the foundation, who's not with us today, but I got to throw in a word, is my dear friend Norman Steinberg, who is one of the best legal minds and a true gentleman. And between Charest, Steinberg, and Schwartz, they're going dream big at the MUHC. This is the dream team to dream big. Jean, Tarah, great to see you guys. Jean is joining us, viewers. By the way, welcome back to my study, which is a studio now, from the Eastern Township. So he's very happy and relaxed, and Tarah's always wonderful. How did this start, Jean? I mean, you're always engagé, as Andre Malraux said. You are one of the most primordial of engagé. But how did this campaign start, and how did you get involved?
Well, I've been familiar with the work of the MUHC through the work I did in politics. And you'll remember that our government was the government that launched the work to build a new hospital. So that really allowed me to get a good sense of what the MUHC represents. But there's something about McGill and the MUHC that I want to share with you, Beryl. If you travel outside of Quebec and Montreal and Canada, you go to Hong Kong, or you go to Singapore, or even London or Paris, and you say the word Montreal, chances are what will come to mind to the person you're talking and the MUHC. And not a lot of people, it is the best known institution outside of Quebec, and one of the best known from Canada. So it's a university hospital where very, very sick people are treated, and they do extraordinary work to save lives. And if only for that reason, when I was asked whether I would co-chair the campaign, I'm delighted to do it, because I hope that we'll be able to just support the men and women who do all this research and actually make our lives a lot better.
And you're quite right. When I travel to Europe, where my family is, they still today know the name McGill.
Yeah.
Good as University of Toronto's things are and their hospitals, McGill is the international name for Canada. That's what attracts them.
Exactly.
How did the target? We're seeing a lot of major targets in campaigns. We saw Federation CJA come out with the first 2-year campaign for $100 million to attack poverty. How did this is to either of you, how did this come to be the $200 million target? And we're going to get into how it splits up and the emergency of it now. Where did that emergency, that urgency come from? And this is to either of you.
I'll let Tarah take that question.
Yeah, I think that especially as the world continues to struggle with this pandemic, I think it is more important than ever, and people realize the urgency of needing to come up with cures, discoveries, vaccines. And the only way that can be done, Beryl, the only way is through research. That's the only way. And money has to go into research. And that's what is so special about the MUHC Foundation, is they are putting money into the research of it, into the discovery of it, because the doctors and the scientists, they are the ones that can make it happen. But without the funding to do their research, they will never make those discoveries, never find the vaccines, never develop the cures. So that is what is special about Dream Big. Big, historic, $200 million big, to put the money into the research to change the course of medicine, and by extension, changing the course of everybody's lives.
Now, Jean, what is the role of the lead co-chair? I know that Marc Parent, the CEO of CAE, is a co-chair, and of course, Suzanne Leggett-Orr, that we all know from community. But what is your role? How much pressure, how much time is put on you? You're the lead name. You've got a following that will never die here. What do you have to do? I mean, in a time like this, normally we'd have a big launch. I'd be at the launch. We'd have, great dinner. You'd make a phenomenal speech. What do we do now? How do you raise money today?
Well, and one of the ironies of what we're experiencing is that there's more of a reason, more of a compelling reason to give now in this environment.
Absolutely. But how do you get that across?
Yeah, we just have to get on. We have to use every opportunity, platform, technology we can, and that's what we do. We had a major donors meeting this week, and we all did it through Zoom, and we are adapting to that, and it works fairly well. Now, I'm part of the co-chair of the campaign, but it's really Norm Steinberg, Julie Canville, that some of you know,
Yes,
who runs the foundation and works with Tarah. And then there's Susan Legg-Orr, who is, a lot of us know, extraordinary, and Marc Parent, who's the CEO of CAE. Now, all of us, what we are doing is introducing the teams of the MUHC to potential donors, people like Dr. Don Shepard or Dr. Ward or Gelfer or others, and allow them to talk about their work. And it's pretty straightforward, but you know what? If you had an opportunity to listen to these researchers and what they're doing, it's impressive. And then we cut the campaign into different issues, because when people give, Beryl, they want to be connected to something concrete that's happening. You just don't give to give. You want to know what will happen. So there's a great program called MI4 on infectious diseases.
I was going to get into that. Yeah.
It started before COVID, and because it's one of the major threats to the health of the planet, infectious diseases, and McGill has been involved in this for a while. And they have, since COVID started, by the way, they've generated 50 research projects funded by the government of Canada or funded by donors, and then we've had major foundations donate money to these projects to deal with COVID-19. And a lot of the stuff we see now on COVID-19 coming out, a lot of it is generated by the researchers at the MUHC. So that's one category. There's cancer, ovarian cancer for women, which is a silent killer, heart disease, that's also an issue. There's research on cannabis, an interesting issue, and one that we've been dealing with. But you know what, on cannabis, which is a plant that has been used for thousands of years for medicinal purposes, is something that we need to understand better so that we can develop treatments by using cannabis correctly. There's a set of about 6 areas in which people can give, and an opportunity to give to change lives. So
now, I was going to get into those areas because, of course, I've been involved in philanthropy and ran the young adult division at Federation. But so we have this issue of directed giving. Now, I know that the MUHC has a really great relationship between the frontline doctors and the research staff. My cousin, actually, Dr. Sasha Dabrowski, is he's in pediatric trauma at the Children's. So he's there, and there's a lot of connection between the researchers, and there's a quick connection between the researchers and the frontline doctors. So when you're talking to a group and somebody asks you the famous directed funding question, and they'll say, love the whole program, it's wonderful, but I can understand that. I'm just going to go through for our viewers the division. So there's Dream Big, which is they aim at $60 million on infectious diseases like COVID, fix broken hearts, obviously heart disease, $50 million for that, $35 million on cancer research, and of course some of the other ones that Jean you mentioned. So if you're talking to 10 major givers, and one of them says, okay, well, you know, I think 60 million would go a long way in research on infectious diseases. I'm not quite sure that, you know, 35 million is enough to end cancer. Can I give my money to the infectious disease part, the dream big part? They can do that? They can
Yes.
direct their funding?
Well, by all means. I mean, you can contribute very directly to an area of research in which you feel compelled to contribute because you feel strongly about it, or maybe there's someone in your family, or maybe you or someone around you who's been affected by COVID, and you want to be able to do something that would help find a cure. So you can do that exactly, and there's there's includes respiratory diseases also that we have. That the Chest Institute is part of what we're doing, and we're going to actually merge the two foundations of the Chest with the MUHC. So just as a small note, they were very conscious of how we need to get organized as those who ask people to give money to be as efficient as possible, and we're doing that. And so you can do that. But the point, I think, what I find really compelling is that if you do give, it is going to change people's lives. It is going to lead to finding cures, and we're already doing that, and treatments, and it makes a difference. So here's a great way to feel good about what you're doing, and any amount of money is appreciated.
And this money, because this question I've been asked, this money, the campaign, this goes to all the components of the MUHC, the Old Royal Vic, the Montreal Children's, everybody's involved, everybody's a potential beneficiary of this, right? Of both the money and the work.
I'm just going to answer that question.
Yeah, Tarah.
Yeah, I'm going to add, so the MUHC is made up of multiple different hospitals,
Right.
but there are multiple foundations.
Right.
So the Montreal Children's has its own foundation. We're a group of foundations. So this campaign, the $200 million Dream Big campaign, is the MUHC Foundation's philanthropic efforts to tackle infectious diseases like COVID, cancer, respiratory, heart disease. So it's really the foundation's initiative. And I think what is so important to understand is that anybody who gives for whatever reason is important to them, whether it's like Jean Charest said, a family member or a cause that you feel close to, you can know that that money is not just going to the frontline medicine, it's going to the research. It's so critical to understand the relationship between research and discoveries. And that money is going to help in the research that is going to change everything in the future. And I just wanted to tackle one point that you had said before. Jean had said that MI4 existed before COVID even happened. And that's why doctors like Dr. Shepard, who's the director of that project, was able to say the MUHC was able to hit the ground running once COVID happened, because that was already up and running and ready. They were ready to go. And that's why they have made some of the biggest advancements now moving forward with COVID, and what we're excited to hear in the future. So there's a lot happening there, and all of it needs to continue through the generosity of the donors. And that's why Jean is there. You're saying, what's Jean's role? His role is for me to get him as many places as possible.
He's kind of very good at convincing people to do that. Two outreach questions, one for Jean, one for you, Tarah. So Jean, how often are you called upon today in this two-dimensional world of Zoom to meet or to speak to groups of donors? Is this a once-a-month thing, or when you're called upon?
There really is. I mean,
and I'm sure you're doing a lot of one-to-one as well.
Well, and it's very much on a needs basis. So we've started, putting things together a while ago, about a year ago. So we've done a few dinners and meetings and calls, but now the campaign is going to pick up, Beryl. And so in the last few days, I've done other interviews, and I'll be doing others because Tarah is mission is to take over my life and to run.
That's not a horrible thing, by the way. But anyway, I digress.
I agree.
I digress.
I digress, but we're going to pick up, and the idea is to connect with the highest number of people, and people who have either foundations who are interested in giving. And one of the things, Beryl, when you're asking for people to give, you can't take anything for granted. People, you need to make
sir.
good. And when people give, it's extremely important that we be able to tell them how the money is going to be invested and what the outcomes will be. And so we're very, very appreciative of people who give us their time. But in the next few weeks, next few months, all of us will be working to connect with those people and convince them to be part of the Dream Big campaign.
I have some very wealthy cousins and friends. You know them, and they taught me one thing, one lesson about what you said. You can't tell rich people what to do with their money. You can only guide them and make them see the distant horizon and hope they'll go there. But you can't demand. Tarah, let me ask you something. In terms of PR, communication, especially when we're missing the human contact and the important, human friction, the foundation going to be doing anything like remember the Montreal General campaign a few years ago where they had these huge banners? Mitsumi was on one of the banners, and I forget, there was a guy on another banner.
Careful, that's right. So we have already started decorating the hospital. So
wait a minute, Belleville was years before the Mitsumi one.
No, they co-chaired.
It's been that long? Okay, I thought Jean was on the banners, but then he passed away, and I thought Mitsumi was another year after that. No?
And it was so lovely.
Wow. Okay, so are we going to see any of that?
Yes, so we have already started splashing the hospital with wonderful posters that, compel you to see the doctors and the researchers, as well as the co-chairs, Jean Charest, Susan Legué-Orr, and Marc Parent are all there. But the thing is that not a lot of people are in the hospitals right now because obviously people need to stay socially distanced. It is critical. So our challenge now is to find new ways to connect with people, because as 20 years as a news anchor and journalist in this city who has told hundreds of stories, people connect with people. That's just the bottom line.
Absolutely.
People connect with people. So we are going to do everything we can to connect with as many people in this sort of new normal that we have. And part of it is getting Jean Charest, who, people admire, and he's got a wonderful energy about him, to get out there and sort of say, listen, he's behind this. He's part of our community. Come be part of our community too. And you don't have to be rich, Farrell, like your wealthy cousins. If you have something.
They're his friends.
Well, we do want his name.
Yeah, we do want his name. But if you
I understand that.
The goal is to make people part of this community. I am in this community. Jean Charest is in this community. Beryl, feel free to be part of our community. We want this community to grow and to feel that we are doing something together.
Well, you have me for anything you guys need. Is there a time limit to this campaign? Because Federation did their $100 million, which is the first time they've set that target in years, as a 2-year campaign. Has this campaign got a time limit that you want to see? Like, is it 200 million whenever, or 200 million and a really big push in 12 months or 24 months?
Well, I mean, it can take as long as 10 years. It's a 10-year campaign, but we've already started. There's already been millions of dollars raised. So we're not starting from zero. We're already off and running, and we're going to see how quickly this can happen. I mean, you don't know, right? If big donors start to give, we could get to that number much earlier. So I guess it's up to the community.
And with your help, Beryl, we think we could probably finish it up by next week.
Jean,
okay.
My help is at your service, but I'll tell you something, with your eloquence and passion and the following you've got, it might take an extra week, but we can do it in 3. We'll walk around Westmount and Outremont together, social distance, and you'll see a lot of people.
Yeah.
But honestly, this show is not just news, it's my commentary. There couldn't be a more authentic voice and a more compelling presence for this campaign than Jean Charest. Just isn't there. He knows it. He knows how I feel, and there you are. Guys, thanks a lot for being here. This is terrific.
Thank you, Barry.
It's a great campaign. It's very important, Montreal. Bottom line, these things, you're all locked down. You're all fearful. You're not spending money going out. You're not spending money on clothes, as my friends downtown are witnessed. You're not going to theaters. You know what? As Tarah said and Jean said, it's not just about the big money, guys. It's about all of us. Write a check. You're not spending it anywhere else. The savings rate figures have gone up dramatically. Take a bit of that and send it in to this effort, because it's about your health, and it's about frankly, your mental health, not being afraid of COVID. That's the number one thing. Wait a minute. We missed one of the most important parts. If people want to contribute, where do they go?
They can go to the MUHC Foundation's website, so the MUHC Foundation, and just click on Dream Big.
And they can do it any way they want. Credit cards, checks,
Information's
anything
there.
at all. Wonderful.
Thank
Great
you
to
so
see you
much.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beryl.
My pleasure. Anything you may need in terms of publicity or whatever, or from me, you just ask. And Jean, look, Jean, I don't want you to get too comfortable. The setting there is just too prosaic. Look at this. I mean,
Here.
Tarah, do you notice the little tutor, the
Beautiful.
tutor touches in the thing and the thing back there? I don't know how you come back from that. I mean, there's no reason.
I'm staying there.
I understand.
Called winter. That's how you come back.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
viewers.
you.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you on the next episode of Beyond the Pages. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.